So here are my Pekin ducks, 1 day old. Take a look at these guys. These guys are so cute. And they're going to turn bright white when they grow up. And they're a meat bird, so they grow super fast. Of course, I'm not going to eat these birds. These birds are mainly for eggs and just as pets too. Really awesome little ducks. Alright, so here are the Pekins, 2 days old. Look at these guys. They are so friendly, super cute. Take a look at that. Their little wings, they look like little penguins or something with those wings hanging out. They are so cute. Alright, so here they are, 3 days old, looking great. And look at their feet, how bright orange the feet are on these guys. Kind of crazy. Oh, they have like super bright orange feet and a bright orange bill. Kind of crazy looking ducks. Alright, first swim in the sink. Alright, so here is day number 4 on these Pekin ducks. Pretty awesome. They're looking fantastic. They actually, you know, sometimes the beginning few days can be kind of touch and go on a lot of ducks and chickens. And usually what I do is I use some oxytetracycline in the water just for a couple times, and usually that pulls them through, especially with chickens. It seems like the first week, maybe week and a half, maybe even 2 weeks, it's good to have oxytetracycline. I pretty much went away from that for these ducks. They really don't need antibiotics, you know, as much as chickens, but they're looking great, doing fantastic. All right, 5 days old. They're looking really good, getting bigger. They're pretty excited. All right, day number 6. I had to actually upgrade to 2 waters because these guys were splashing so much water, and I had to move the water away from the food because the water was getting to the food and it was getting all caked up. I had to throw all the old food away. These guys are looking great. I actually went through and cleaned the whole enclosure today, and I'm not sure how long I can actually keep them in here. Probably pretty soon I'll have to move them to a bigger enclosure. All right, day number 7, 1 week old, looking pretty good. All right, day number 8. They're growing pretty fast, getting pretty big, and it's pretty amazing how big they are and still really super fuzzy and super yellow. Take a look at these guys, and super friendly too. It's pretty amazing. All right, day number 9. They're getting pretty big and still look really super cute. It's pretty amazing how cute they look for being this old. And they're still doing great in this little glass aquarium. They still have plenty of room in here. I'm thinking about moving them up at some point to a bigger enclosure, maybe out in the garage. But so far it looks like they're doing pretty good in here. Plenty of room at the moment. These guys are one of the fastest growing ducks on the planet, so they'll quickly outgrow this in no time at all. All right, it's bath time in the kitchen sink. All right, 10 days old. I actually moved them up to this big 6-foot round stock tank. They were getting pretty miserable in that little glass aquarium. The problem is they kept flooding it and the bedding would get soaked. They're actually starting to soak the bedding around the waters here. And then the temperature, I was just fighting with the temperature. It was too hot and too cold. And at least here with the hanging light, they can move away from the heat lamp. If they get too hot or too cold, they can kind of go back and forth. These guys are doing pretty good. I actually moved my other ducks out of here, and eventually I'll move these guys outside in the barnyard. All right, 11 days old, still looking really cute, growing pretty fast. They're pretty big and don't have any of their adult feathers yet. Still just little fur balls, really super cute. All right, 12 days old, 12 days of cuteness. Take a look at these guys. They are super cute. Big old fluff balls. All right, 13 days old, still looking really cute. Still have plenty of room in here. And they haven't feathered in at all as far as their adult feathers. You definitely need to wait for their adult feathers before you can put them outside. And they're eventually going to turn white. It's pretty amazing. They're still bright yellow. All right, 14 days old. Look at these big ducks. They're getting pretty big. And they're just kind of lazy, laying around, not really doing that much. They're pretty low energy duck. It's kind of amazing. They still look super cute. Big fluff balls. All right, 15 days old. These guys sure love the water. They splash it everywhere. They are kind of crazy, getting really big, super cute still. All right, 16 days, and I kind of changed things up a little bit. I actually moved my chickens out of my garage, and I actually moved them out in the barnyard with my other ducks. So I freed up a big water. I just put it in there. They're still trying to get used to it. I don't even think they realized it was a water until just right now. And then I put this big feeder over in the back over here. So I have a bigger feeder and a bigger water. It'll be a lot easier to take care of these guys. And these guys are still really big fluff balls, super soft. I can't believe how soft a baby duck is. I can't believe it. All right, 17 days. We have some ducks in the jail cell here. I actually put them out with all the other birds, and they were just sitting ducks getting picked on and chased around. And I decided to put them in here just for kind of a transition into the barnyard. I have a whole bunch of birds out here. I have a whole bunch of little baby chickens that have been doing really good, and some bigger ducks out here. So I just kind of wanted them to transition before they actually came out here with all the bigger birds. These three little pecans are definitely not really big enough to be out with the rest of them. So I've been kind of pinning them up. Even during the day, I've still been pinning these guys up because they're getting beat on a little bit. You know, the new ducks don't really know what's going on with those pecans. So kind of try to keep them separated until they get a little bit bigger. Those pecans should be some of my biggest ducks. So at some point, they'll be able to hold their own. All right, so day number 18, I actually got to let these guys run out with the flock for a little bit, and they are starting to get beat up a little. So I moved them back in here in kind of their timeout spot. It seems like the bigger black cayugas do not like those guys very much. They don't really chase them too much to where I don't think they'd hurt them. They just kind of pick on them if they get close. All right, day number 19 on these Pekin ducks, and they're doing really good. I got a bunch of other ducks and chickens out here, and it seems like they're all finally getting along. They're not really like chasing around, picking on them. but they're pretty much the lowest on the totem pole as far as all my other birds. All right, day 20 for these three guys. Take a look at these. Their bellies are so dirty, kind of wading in the mud. And let me tell you, I do not trust these guys out here with the hawks. I've been only keeping them out here when I'm out here, and then I pen them up. Make sure it's almost like they're sitting ducks out here. All right, so these guys are in their little jail cell again. I probably won't put them out permanently with all the other birds until they finally grow out their final feathers and get a little bit bigger. I'm just not comfortable leaving these guys out with the whole flock just yet. All right, day 21, 3 weeks old, and look, they're starting to get their final feathering just a little bit. They still look super fluffy. I can't believe how soft these ducks are, super soft. All right, day 22. As a matter of fact, yesterday I kept these guys outside the whole day without me being here. I think there's enough birds in here, some bigger birds, that'll keep them safe from the hawks and stuff like that. Because there's, you know, if they're alone out there in kind of open range, I think they'd be a lot more at risk. But I think with all these birds in here, they're fine. So I'm going to start keeping them out during the day out in the open. All right, day 23. These guys are finally integrated into the flock and just kind of hanging out. You can tell they're definitely comfortable now. They're just, it looks like they're ready to go to sleep. That's pretty funny. All right, day 24 on these Pekin ducks, and they're actually in here ready to go to bed. It's kind of getting late. The sun's going down, but look at how big they're getting. They're getting pretty big, starting to get their final feathers in, big and fluffy. And it's amazing how dirty they look. Running around here, every little spot of dirt kind of shows up on these light-colored ducks. All right, day 25 on the Pekins. These guys are doing great. They sleep quite a bit compared to the other ducks. They still look like big old fur balls. All right, day 26 on these Pekins, and look at how dirty their chest gets. It's kind of funny. Every little speck of dirt you can see on these white ducks. It's pretty funny. They're still doing fantastic. They've really integrated with the flock now. No problems at all. No fighting, hardly at all in the whole flock. All right, day 27 on these big old fluff balls. These guys are doing great. All right, day 28 on these Pekins. Look how they really stand out against all these other blackbirds. As a matter of fact, I was going with all black to kind of avoid the hawks. And then I decided, I think I'll get a few Pekins just to see how they do. And so far they've been doing great. And I think with all these birds in here, it's a little more protection than just kind of running out in the open. As a matter of fact, I don't think I'm going to open up my whole fencing system to where they're actually out in the open. I want to keep them pretty close to some shelter at all times. All right, day 29 on these Pekins. Take a look at how bright they are. They're super bright. Compared to all my other ducks, they are really getting super bright. As a matter of fact, they'll turn like a pure white and lose most of that. I think they'll lose all of that yellow once they get to where they're adults. All right, day 30. Look at how bright the bills are and the feet on these guys. Still big fur balls. I can't believe they don't have their final feathers in by now. Pretty crazy. Look at their wings. So cute. All right, day 31. These guys are getting really big, growing super fast. It seems like they're growing faster than all my other ducks. Pretty crazy. And they have this funny waddle, like so big, they almost trip over their own feet. It's pretty funny. I've been actually feeding them cucumbers and oranges and a bunch of other stuff over here. They seem like they really like the cucumbers. And I put the oranges down here kind of for the chickens. Seems like they're really enjoying all their kind of exotic fruit kind of stuff that they kind of got a little bit too old in the kitchen. All right, day 32. You know, the funny thing is these were like the whitest, kind of smaller ducks out here, and they're getting to the point where they're almost outgrowing some of the bigger ducks to where they have almost the same body mass. I think they're gonna be the boss of the barnyard. I think these three are gonna get bigger than all my other ducks. That is pretty crazy. All right, day 33 on these big white fluff balls. They're looking really super cute. All right, day 34 on these Pekins. I actually expanded their area. I gave them a lot more room because I had so many birds that were getting jammed in there. Take a look at this. This is the whole expansion of their area. Essentially what I did is I put up some chicken wire and some T-posts and just a bunch of fencing material I had in the back and some landscaping materials, and it comes all the way over here. This is just like really used, kind of beat up chicken wire, really heavy duty. And it really expanded my area. Look at how much room they have all the way over here. And this is the whole expansion all the way over here. And I actually had to scare them all over here to get them over here. They were so scared to walk through this little spot right here. So they have this little walkway here. This is all part of the expansion. They can actually hide from the hawks right back here. And I got a couple little chicks in the way. Let's see if I can get by these chicks. They're not too comfortable walking through this little tunnel yet. You can actually walk over here, and this is where the other area was over here. This is the original area. It goes around the bear-proof chicken coop. And this is kind of the wet area for the ducks over here. And then they have the inside area that I pinned them up at night. Quite a bit of space for these ducks. All right, day 35. These guys, I don't know what they're doing. They kind of like lost just That's pretty funny. And it seems like they have a lot more protection from the hawks and everything. They've been coming out quite a bit more. Looking pretty big and fluffy. Still haven't really got their permanent feathers in very much, which is pretty surprising for their age. All right, day 36. Look at this, kind of crammed in here with all these birds. I think they got dive bombed by a hawk and they all came running into this little bear-proof chicken coop. That is pretty funny. He's like, how do I get out of here? Oh, that's so funny. All right, day 37. These guys are getting really big. I can't believe it. I think they're almost my biggest birds, which is pretty amazing. Everyone's kind of running all over the place down this little. I had to actually chase them out to get them in the sun so you could actually see them. And I have so many birds in such a big area over here. Take a look at these guys. Oh, that's pretty funny. All right, day 38 on the Pekin ducks. They're getting kind of brave. Starting to push other ducks around, which is pretty funny. All right, day 39. These guys found a big mud puddle over here. Kind of playing in the mud. I need to bring up some more gravelly dirt or something to fix these mud spots. I go through so much water, it's pretty amazing. All right, day 40 on these Pekins, and they're starting to plow down the food. Everyone's starting to eat a lot more food. I got a lot more chickens growing up, and chickens and ducks, and a whole bunch of birds out here, and the food's going pretty quick. A lot of food going out, no eggs coming yet, which is kind of the hard transition. All right, day 41 on these Pekin ducks. They're so bright. I can't believe how bright they are compared to all my other birds. They're really super bright. They definitely keep their distance from all the other birds. All right, day 42 on the Pekins, and I actually kind of fixed my mud situation. It's for all my, if you've been watching, I've had this problem with the mud, and essentially what I did is I took all the bedding out of my chicken coop and I put it all over here, all the used bedding, and these birds and ducks, they absolutely love it. Seems like it covered in all the mud spots, and they can kind of pick through for leftover food, and it gives them something to do. Tons of birds out here. Day 43 on these bright white ducks. Look at how bright they are in the sun. They're like hawk bait. I think they just got dive bombed by a hawk too, because they all kind of scattered. And so far there's enough birds in here, I think, that when the hawks swoop down, that they all kind of jump at the same time. And seems like they're keeping the white ones safe because there's just so many birds in here. And it seems like these Pekins, they're a lot more cleaner now that I've put some straw down on top of all the kind of mud puddles. All right, day 44 on the Pekins, and for some reason these guys are pretty skittish. I can't get too close to them without them running away. I'd say these are probably my most scared birds out of all of them. They look really beautiful, big white birds, pretty awesome. All right, day 45. These guys are looking pretty good. Still have 3 Pekins. I'm kind of surprised that they made it with all the hawks and everything. I think because I just have so many birds and so much protection, and not a whole lot of really big open space where they can kind of get cornered and dive bombed. They seem like they're pretty aware of the predators. Looking really good. I'm thinking they're almost fully feathered out. Looking pretty good. I'm going to feed them one more time on day 45. Look at all the little look at all the chickens. Here come the last of the little chickens, and the ducks and the birds and everyone. I got the Pekin ducks over there. Look at how big they are. I think they're my biggest bird. It's pretty incredible. And I'm going to feed these guys a little bit of lettuce. Look at these guys. Oh my goodness. Crazy ducks. And I finally went to a different kind of a setup right here at pretty much at the end. I changed my water because I was tired of getting kind of swamped out from all the water. Essentially what I did is I put all my waters right in this little thing, and I brought in some dirt and made a little berm all the way around the water so it drains through the fence instead of draining over here. I don't know why I didn't think about it at the very beginning, but that is kind of drying out the whole barnyard here, which is really nice. Look at all these crazy birds. The cool thing about this new water setup is I could fence it off with it's like a little portable dog kennel, and I could fence it off and make it a private spa for the Pekins. Keep all the other ducks out of there so they can take their time and just relax in the water. That's pretty funny.